Our film opening was of the crime genre, and in order to understand the genre, we carried out a lot of research and looked closely at existing crime films so we could identify the crime genre conventions. Researching into real media was important to do as it had brought us the understanding of what the conventions of the film opening in crime genres are and therefore helped us in reconstruction of the media product we were going to construct. This was done in order for the product to be recognizable as a film opening. The conventions of a film opening that we looked at were what typically happens on the first few minutes of a film. We used what we found to inform the decisions that we made. A convention we tried conforming to was to introduce all the main characters in the film opening. We introduced both the detective as through our research on real media we found the main characters would usually be placed in the opening in order to show the importance of them. In our media product we tried to show a build-up of the main detective using a range of close-ups and extreme close-ups. This was done to show the importance of the character. The sidekick was placed in from the beginning, so we also brought the idea to the viewer that he was also another important character because he was introduced from the beginning. Like many other crime genre real media products, commonly the main character such as the villain is presented to the viewer partly or by using a mask as a prop in order to cover his face. For example, The Dark Knight uses a prop of a clown mask to cover the face of the villain. Another example of a real media using this convention is shown in the film Scream, where the villain is shown wearing a ghost mask. This is done to keep the identity of the villain a secret and build a mystery among the characters, leaving the viewer more drawn to the product. The usage of a mask was done in our first draft product, as we used a white mask for the killer. After looking back at our first draft, we thought that it would be more effective if the viewer did not see the face at all, but we were tempted to keep him in as we wanted to show this character that we had created. However, because we are only creating an opening part of the film, it limited the amount of storytelling we could do, and we had to be careful about revealing the villain too quickly. If we were to create a full movie, we would prefer to slowly unravel the identity of the villain. With this in mind, in the end, we stuck with our initial idea and decided to keep the audience in greater suspense and limit the amount. This was done by not showing the villain's face at all throughout the film opening. Another convention we tried to conform to within our media product was the stereotype of female vulnerability and the male dominance. We purposely chose a female character to play a victim role as we thought it would be easier to portray her as more vulnerable and scared. Also, due to our research, we found out that females are stereotypically used as damsel in distress or someone who is weak and unable to protect herself. Some examples of this would be within films such as Spider-Man or in Lawless. Our research on real media has helped us to reinforce the idea of showing the male dominancy characters through the fear of female victims upon the villain. A male character was used as the villain, as through our research on real media we found out that a male would usually be used to emphasize the character being strong, vicious, and violent. This could be reinforced within the clip of Lawless where the male is attacking the female, or in The Dark Knight where Joker, a male character, is the villain. In addition, we found out that a male would also be used as a hero in the movie, who would usually come up and solve everything. So we decided to conform to this stereotype of a hero in the movie as we used a male character to be a detective. A social group which has been represented in our media product is the selection of gender. The cast that has been chosen were particularly a female character for the victim, which is the one to be seen as the most vulnerable and unable to protect herself. We purposely represented that females are dependent on the males, as a detective had to come to the rescue, emphasizing that males are more powerful and independent. However, the representation of male characters is positive and the representation of female characters were negative, which was done to conform to the stereotype of gender representation. But I do not agree to this type of representation on females. If I was to create the whole movie, it is more likely that the representation of females would have been more positive rather than how it is shown in our media product. This may have been done by, for example, introducing another detective who is a female character later on in the film. While we wanted our film opening to be easily defined as fitting the crime genre and being a film opening, we also wanted to find a unique selling point. We therefore had to subvert some of the aspects of the crime genre rather than recreate what had already been done so many times before. We subverted the conventions in casting that had originally been chosen, which was to have a black male as the main detective, so he was seen as more important and high in class. We would have chosen a white male as a sidekick detective, but due to having a minor access to casting by being students of a school, we could not find a white male that was willing to act for us, therefore chose an Asian male as the sidekick detective to show we were subverting the stereotype. Two real media product examples of this is shown in Django and Cop Out. They had used a black male as the sidekick, showing he is less important and that the main detective has more power. But after submitting our first draft, we thought of conforming this stereotype after deciding that our product had too many conventions in it and so did not look like a film opening and seemed to be more of a trailer instead. The casting we chose for our final draft was of an Asian male for the main detective and a black male for the sidekick. In reflection, we chose to have a black male for our sidekick in order to conform the stereotypes of having a comical character as the sidekick. Race was also a social group which was represented within our media product. First of all, we tried in subverting this stereotype of black cast being portrayed as the comical character and less in power from the main character. This was done in our first draft by making our main detective a black male, which would have made him seem more powerful and more of a hero within the product. However, for our final draft, we decided to conform the stereotype by making the sidekick a black male. This was a negative representation towards black males, but if we were to continue throughout the film, there may have been more positive representation, as for example, we may have shown the sidekick become a hero and more superior to the main detective. In addition to this, an Asian male had been chosen for the main detective role rather than a white male. We had positively subverted the stereotype at that point, and we had presented an Asian male as a superior character and a role model within our product. Again, on reflection, as we have chosen to present the black males negatively compared to Asian males, this has a bigger impact as it is a film opening, so these are the first things that are seen and are more likely to stick in the viewer's mind throughout the film.